Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book How to Live the Abundant Life, no other than Mr. Carl Grant III.
Good to be here, Daniel.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Carl, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. So, Daniel, I am the married father of five adult children. I live in Austin, Texas. I I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. And I work really hard. So I'm juggling three different jobs at the moment. So I run a small life sciences company. I have my own consulting company, and then I have a tech-enabled, like a tech platform that I run with my son called Capital Race. So I keep myself very busy when I'm not writing books.
Yes, busy is good, Mr. Carl, and thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. Thank you for empowering us. So, what does living an abundant life mean to you personally?
Well, it means getting the most out of life in all aspects of life. It's not just people hear the word abundance and they immediately think of financial or money, but it's not about that. It's actually about doing the things that don't come natural to you, and uh, in thriving as a result. And so I start out talking about how to find your purpose. So many people wander through life not knowing what the purpose of their life is. And then I talk about how to maintain a sound mind. I find that so many people just dwell on whatever thoughts just happen to wander into their mind, and I show how only you control what you think about. And so I talk a lot about that. I talk about growing spiritually. I think that's a very important aspect of life. Maintaining a healthy body, pursuing personal growth, whatever that might look like for you, and then how to develop and maintain strong personal relationships, and then how to establish boundaries so those relationships don't take up all of your free time, not leaving it for the most important things in your life. How to be likable, how to develop character and build a lasting legacy, and then how to be part of a community. Those are all things I talk about in this book.
You are the driver of yourself, people. So, how do you define success and fulfillment in your life?
Well, so many people will tell you that the person who dies with the most toys wins. I don't think so. I don't look at life like that way. I think it's more about having strong relationships, whether that be your family, your friends, your community. You want the people around you to love you and want to be with you. I think that's how you define success. When I moved to Austin, Texas, four of my five children moved here with me, and they're adult children. They didn't have to do that. And so I'm constantly surrounded by the folks that I love. Uh, my adult children, my parents, others who I love in my life, they don't have to choose to be with me during the holidays and things like that. We're coming up to the holiday season, but I'm really blessed to have them all around me through Thanksgiving, through Christmas. It's just that is what I call success, when you can spend time with the people that you love.
Perfectly well said, Mr. Carl. Very well said. So, what daily habits can you develop to promote abundance in your life?
Well, so many people say they don't have time for certain things, and I tell them that those things aren't a priority to them. And so I'm going to tell you about some habits that I've built into my life. Before I start my work day, I already established that I work really hard, but I have things that are more important to me than work. Number one, my faith is number one in my life. My family is number two, and then my health is number three. And after that comes work and other things. So to make sure I take time for those priorities, I wake up very early in the morning, way earlier than most people. And I before I even turn my phone on, the ringer is off. I spend quiet time with myself first, by myself for about an hour, and then I spend an hour with my wife. And we have a morning routine where we do a Bible study together and we pray. And that has helped us. We've been married for 30 years, and we're still very much in love and very happy. So many marriages don't make it like that. It's because we are reading from the same book, right? Whether it be the Bible or whatever it is that you value with your spouse, you have to spend time in those things. And so we do that together, and we pray together every morning. And then after that, I go to the gym and I do an aerobic workout in the morning for a half hour, and then I stretch. All of this before I've ever turned my phone on. And then after I've worked out, had breakfast, and a healthy one at that, I will shower, get ready, and then I start my work day, right? And so I've already made time for those priorities in my life before the workday even starts. And so it's because I prioritize those things. And then, Daniel, even those are such priorities in my life that after I'm done with my workday, after I'm done talking to you tonight, I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to do a weight workout, right? Because my health is very important to me. And then I am going to finish my day by watching. My wife and I have a couple of we're watching The Sopranos for the first time. We're watching Yellowstone. We will carve out 45 minutes to sit down and we'll watch some TV just to unwind at the end of the day with a glass of wine. It's very nice. And so once again, I'm spending time with my wife doing something that she likes to make her happy, to keep her, keep this relationship strong. And so those are some healthy habits I build in my day.
Yes, spending quality time, health is wealth, and of course, Soprano is highly recommended to watch. So, how can gratitude enhance your sense of abundance?
Well, I think it's if you're not grateful for everything that you get in life, then you're not happy. I think just looking at my food and saying, God, I thank you for this food before me. Or when you get paid, rather than feeling like it's something that you um, are meant to receive. Be thankful that you're receiving this provision. I'm thankful for everything in my life, even the smallest things. Even when I drink a cold glass of water, I'm thankful. And in being thankful for all those things, I just don't look beyond them and take them for granted. I'm thankful that my wife takes care of herself and that she still wants to look good after 30 years and she still looks pretty to me. I thank her for taking care of herself every day. And I tell her she's beautiful every day.
Yes, that's the secret of long live marriage, people. So, what role does financial stability play in living an abundant life?
Well, I think that you need to have a certain baseline to be able to make it in this world. So, if you don't have your mortgage paid and you're not able to afford your vehicle and food and the basic things of life, it can be hard. And so, but once the basics are taken care of, everything beyond that is gravy, right? I remember I write about this in the book. There's a couple of instances where I had, I had no money, right? But I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. And I'll tell you one of them. One of them was when I asked my wife to marry me. I literally had spent every cent, Daniel, I had on her ring, and I was embarrassed because I did not have money to even take her out to a proper meal. And you know what? She called me up and she said, "How about if I take you out to this Chinese restaurant?" And I was so thankful she said that because I didn't have any money. And but you know what? She during that dinner she agreed to marry me, and so she married me without a penny to my name. There was another instance where I was told in one of my first jobs after getting married, I had a week of vacation, and I didn't use it because I didn't have any money to go on vacation. And I was told by my boss, you use it or lose it. And so I had to take a week off. And I remember this was, I call it our vacation from God. I mean, we were provided 2 free airplane tickets, buddy passes through her sister-in-law who worked for the airline. So we flew free. This was to it was an island in the Treasure Cay in the Bahamas, and we didn't, I couldn't afford a place to stay. We ended up being given a condo to stay in. In fact, we had the whole complex to ourselves that week. I mean, everything that we needed that week was provided for us. I had no money. We had a new baby, and so look, what I'm saying is you can experience some of the happiest times in your life when you really have very little. And there was one other time I want to tell you about, Daniel, when I we built a house. This the last house we lived in. We had bought 20 acres, and
Yeah.
we had to put in the water, the electricity, the road, everything. There was nothing there, and so in doing this, the cost of the project went up $100,000 while we were doing it, and then the value of our house that we were selling dropped by $200,000 in the middle of this project. It took a year longer than it was supposed to, and so there was a $300,000 difference. That's a tough thing to have as a surprise. And I remember once we moved in there and we closed on our house, it was my birthday. It was my 40th birthday, and we went tubing down the river. And I did the math in my head as all five of my children and my wife were on these tubes. I did the math in my head, and I realized that we had enough money to live in that house and still eat. And you know
Wow.
what? I was one of the happiest days of my life was when I realized I had a home and I could still eat. And so I'm not talking about, you don't need Ferraris and you don't need, boats and airplanes and things like that to make you happy. I'm just saying I had a loving family around me and I knew I could feed them and I was happy, the happiest I could ever imagine. And so anything beyond that is gravy, Daniel.
Yes. Thank God for all the blessings. So, how can you cultivate positive relationships that contribute to your abundance?
So this is where I say you got to do the opposite of what comes to human nature, right? And this
Yes.
was kind of, I had a radical change halfway through my life. I was a total atheist when I was growing up. I had no belief in God, and then I became a born again Christian at age 24, and I realized after reading the Bible the first time, oh my gosh, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He who wishes to be first must be last and servants of all. I mean, everything I was reading in the Bible was contrary to what came naturally to me. And so, if you want the relationships around you, you put those things into practice. So the golden rule: you do unto your spouse as you would have them do unto you, unto your children, right? If you want people to follow you and be around you and like you serve their needs. you
Yes.
you you look you esteem others more highly than yourself. When you're talking with someone, you don't do all the talking. You ask them about themselves and you listen. You put that person as being more important than you, and what they have as being more important. What they have to say is being more important than what you have to say. And amazingly, you can come away from a conversation where all you've done is ask questions and listen, and the other person will say, wow, that was a wonderful conversation. So those are some of the little things there, Daniel.
Yes, yes, yes. And my favorite chapter in the Bible is John 3:16. So, people, if you want to know how God loves us, read John 3:16. So,
Amen.
how can you balance ambition with contentment to achieve a fulfilling life?
I think that's a balancing act I've been doing my whole life because I'm an extremely ambitious guy. But um, when I was started out as an entrepreneur, Daniel, trying to start my own businesses and being part of startups. And when you have five children, you can't really just go and do whatever you want to do because you've got six people that are expecting you to feed them. Plus, I have horses and a dog and a cat, and so I have to put all these people ahead of my ambitions. And so when I did a couple of startups early on in my career that didn't work out, I was part of the management team of the first company to put video over the internet, if you can believe that. That was 24 years ago. We raised $36 million, and we all thought we were going to be, gazillionaires. That didn't happen. The economy crashed and the business went out of business. And after a couple of those, my wife said to me, how about if you don't do any more startups while I'm raising all of these children? And so, you know what? When my wife tells me something like that, I listen to her. And so I joined a professional services firm. I joined a law firm as global head of business development. It was a great 20-year career, but I stayed there because it was a stable job that paid well. It gave me a work-life balance. I got paid time off. I got, at the end there, I was getting 7 weeks of paid vacation. So rather than seeking out all the things I had ambition to do in life, I paused my ambition and I took that job for 20 years while my children were growing, and now the youngest one is a junior in college. And so I'm kind of beyond that a little bit. I have to pay for his college, but now I'm free to do the entrepreneurial thing again, and I'm not too old to do it. So that's how you balance it.
Oh, yes, for sure. Totally agree with you, Mr. Carl. So, what skills or knowledge can you acquire to increase your opportunities for abundance?
Well, I look at life as a constant learning, right? Don't ever stop and be content. I went to high school. Oh, I went to college. I went to grad school, right? Yeah, I did all of that. But you know what? There's skills that you can pick up along the way. Public speaking skills, writing skills, mastering artificial intelligence. I decided in 2019 I wasn't a good enough student to go to Harvard when I was a young person, but you know what? They have executive education programs, and I could get myself into Harvard now as a grown up. And so, you know what? I went to a course at Harvard and I studied private equity and venture capital, which is an area that I was working in. And so I write about how to achieve these types of things in the book, right? Nothing is impossible. I always wanted to fly airplanes. And I ended up getting my pilot's license about a decade ago because I wanted to, right? I mean, there's nobody telling me I had to do that. So I've constantly, as life has gone on, I've looked for new challenges and new ways to challenge myself. Even writing this book, right? It seems like a daunting task to write a book, but if you boil it down to bite-sized pieces and projects, and you work on it one at a time, you can set yourself up to be able to accomplish unbelievable things. And so I would say, it's not going to look the same for everyone out there. Not everybody wants to fly an airplane or go to Harvard or write a book. It maybe you want to learn how to dance or sew or sing, right? I tried
Yes.
to I tried to learn how to sing, Daniel, but I wasn't good at it, unfortunately.
And learn the second invention of relativity. But people, we need to learn every day. We need to seek something that we learn every day. So, Mr. Carl, what is your advice for those aspiring writers out there?
Well, you know what I would say is, if you're an aspiring writer, and if you're like me and you look at sitting down and writing a book, a 200-page book, that's a lot, right? That to me was an overwhelming task. And so what I knew that I could do is I knew I could write an essay. I've written plenty of essays. I've helped my kids with their college essays. I've shown them how to do it, and so write write a series of essays, pick topics, right?
Yeah.
Another way to develop content is I did a podcast and I interviewed very interesting people on the podcast. So I thought it would be embarrassing to call up people and interview them for a book. And what if the book didn't get published? Then I would look stupid, right? And so rather than doing that, I did a podcast. I booked them as guests. I got the transcripts, and then I had all the quotes from the transcripts for those podcasts, and I was able to use some of those quotes in my book. So, and I would say, you know, try to resist having AI write it for you. That's
Yeah.
fortunately it wasn't a thing when I wrote this book. Only towards the end, and I you know you can be tempted to want to use it because it'll develop content for you, but you want to write it from the heart. You don't want an AI generated book.
Very well said, Mr. Carl. And what is your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Well, my short term goal is to do what I'm doing with this book is to promote it. I've had a lot of issues with Amazon, so I won't get into all of those today. It's one thing you need to know about writing a book as an author. You're not going to make the money. Amazon's going to make the money.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, that's
Yes.
this. But it does open up many doors for you. I've gotten consulting jobs. I've gotten I it's not how many people read your book, it's who reads your book. I've gone as far as Saudi Arabia and met a government official who was reading my book. That's crazy, right? That's in this. I've sat down to meet with the CEO of a company or the general counsel of another large company, and they both had read my book. And so those are the mind blowing experiences you have as an author, right? Because you don't know who's
Yes.
reading it. Um, Long term, I think I want to write a book about. I want to do a book about faith. I have a ministry called Bridges of Faith. It's an interfaith um, meeting that we do every couple weeks, where we have a group of Christians and a group of Muslims, and we study the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran and the Hadiths together, and it's beautiful. It's an absolute beautiful experience, and we all come together with the same spirit of unity and wanting to respect each other and learn from each other. And so I think I would like to write a book coming out of that, perhaps with a co-author it with a Muslim believer, and talking about the similarities and differences of the two faiths. I think too many people don't have these conversations, and you know the news media does so much to divide people up that we all look at each other with suspicion and skepticism, and we just don't understand each other. I think a book like that could do a lot to help break down barriers and have these discussions. To have these discussions on podcasts like this around a topic like that, I think would be wonderful.
Good luck for your goals, Mr. Carl, and looking forward for more books to come. So, what are some ways to find joy in the present moment while striving for more abundance?
The ways to find joy. This is one of these tricks I write about in the book. Is you always have to have something to look forward to, right? Because we all have to do things we don't like. And whatever that is that you don't like doing, laundry, cleaning dishes, putting away your clothes, whatever, I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't pleasant that are just part of life. But we all have things that we love to do, and we can all plan for those things, whether it's something as small as watching The Sopranos with my wife, or as big as going on a cruise or on a vacation or a drive, or whatever it is that you like to do, and you schedule that out a week, a month, right? I am a master at scheduling things in advance and looking forward to them. It's half the fun of doing something is looking forward to it. I love to go to the beach. I used to plan trips to the beach, and I would look so forward to that, Daniel. And so I would just encourage your listeners and my readers that whatever it is that makes you happy, schedule it. And maybe it's going out to get an ice cream cone. I don't know. Everybody's different. Whatever it is, put it on the calendar and just look forward to it. And then when you get there, enjoy that moment, right? Enjoy being at the beach or having your ice cream or whatever it is that you like to do. I love to eat pizza, Daniel. But if I ate it every day, I would be 300 pounds. I've already told you I like to take care of my health. And
Yes.
so on Saturdays, I eat pizza. I schedule it every Saturday. And I look so forward to that pizza. right? It's one of those joys I have in life is having that pizza on Saturday. And so, I can't tell you what it is that you like, but that's how you can always have joy, is always having something to look forward to.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of food, I want to plug in my other podcast, Food 101, our fifth season, people, fifth season with Chef Alessandro, one of specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. So please do listen to our latest episode. We talk about burrata caprese, similar with the pizza. So, Mr. Carl, to sum up our discussion, how can embracing gratitude for small wins lead to a greater overall abundance?
Well, you know what? I think the just the very act of thanking somebody, another person for something kind that they've done to you, it's going to make the other person happy, and it's going to make you happy. If you're a believer in God, as I am, and it sounds like you are too, Daniel, thanking Him in the little things. I believe God acts very much like a human being, right? If you do something for somebody else and that person is grateful for what you've done, you're going to want to do more kind things for that person, right? It's just
Right.
human nature, right?
Yes.
If I have a kid who is just thankful when I get him a little gift or bring him something, I'm going to want to bring more gifts to him because I want to make him happy. I want to feel that happiness. I believe God acts the same way to us. I think when He blesses us and we thank Him for it, I think He wants to bless us more. And so, walk in those blessings. Just be grateful and thankful, and watch if He doesn't fill your cup up.
Yes, people, be grateful of what you have. Stop complaining. Instead of complaining, be thankful. So, Mr. Carl Grant III, thank you so much for empowering us. Thank you for giving us your books. And we are looking for more empowering books to come. So, Mr. Carl, can you please invite our listeners to support your book?
Yeah, please look it up on Amazon. How to Live the Abundant Life. Look it up on Barnes and Noble. Actually, if you Google it, I if it's on my website, carlgrant.com, and then find me on social media and send me a note. I love getting those notes. I'm on Instagram, carl.grant.iii, or LinkedIn at Carl Grant the Third. I'm at other ones too, but those are the two easiest to find me.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Carl Grant III because if you support him, more, as I said, empowering books to come. So, Mr. Carl, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Mr. Carl, I can share you